All right, let's talk about competition in real estate. I'm pulling some topics today from Hot Topics in Broker Risk Management. This is something that came out just last week at the NAR Legal Affairs discussion back in Washington, D.C. Now, they gave us a lot of different topics. I'm going to actually break these down into several different parts. If you're a real estate agent or a broker somewhere, this is something that you probably should be aware of. These are the major issues that real estate brokers and agents are facing today. So the first one we're going to talk about is competition in real estate. Now, where this one comes up with us is, frankly, I've never seen this happen before, but where there's collusion, and this is a big deal because this gets federal governments involved. But if there's collusion, meaning that brokers are getting together and saying, let's set prices in this market, and you can have this market, and I'll have this market, and we won't compete each other, so the prices, we can kind of set higher prices. I have never seen that in 20 years. All right. But it continues to be a topic out there. And honestly, I don't know if it's a remnant from the past, from before my time or whatever, but we keep bringing it up and it must be an issue somewhere. What I do see as relevant, though, is their third point on here, okay? Use buyer representation agreements and continue to have transparent conversations with consumers about the service buyers agents provide and how they are paid. Now, if you haven't taken my training program, I talk all the time about working with buyers and that we need to be communicating our value up front with them, just as we do with sellers. With sellers, we sit down, we do a listing presentation. They know all the value that we're going to provide. But with buyers, so many agents are sticking them in their cars and driving them around. And we're not Uber drivers, guys. We have so much more value than just driving people around. And yet we're not communicating that well. And that needs to change. So stop for a minute, do a buyer presentation. If you don't have one put together, put one together. If you don't know how to put one together, sign up for my training program and get it. But sit down and do a buyer presentation with your people right up front, day one. Let them know the value that you're providing because it is enormous for buyers. We provide a fantastic service for our buyers. And when they understand that service, then they sign a buyer representation agreement. This should be happening with everybody day one. All right. So that would be the number one thing I would say when it comes to competition is we never say, hey, come and work with me as a buyer's agent. I'm free, because we're not free. We get paid, we get compensated, and we're worth that compensation. There is real value that we're providing. So we never advertise our services as free services, as buyer's agents. Yes, sometimes we do get compensated by the listing agent. Sometimes the buyers choose to compensate us directly because it makes their offer more competitive. But there's great reasons why we do what we do, and the public should be educated about it. And just in case, if you're a member of the public and you're wondering, why does a seller or a listing agent compensate the buyer's broker? It's because when buyers are coming to the table trying to buy a home, there are so many hurdles for them already to buy a home. They've got to come up with down payment and closing costs and pay for inspections and appraisals. There's a lot of fees that they have. And one of the ways that realtors helps them is that we cooperate with each other. So if I'm a listing agent and you hire me to sell your home, I say, okay, I'll sell your home and I'm going to charge X amount for commission. And then I go and I offer a portion of that commission to buyer's agents saying, hey, buyer's agents, bring me a buyer and I'll pay you a portion of the commission that I'm earning. That way buyers can come into play and more easily purchase that home. It helps the whole world go around. Because if we didn't have buyer's agents, number one, buyers wouldn't know what to do. They'd be making mistakes. The first obstacles that came along, inspection issues, appraisal issues, all of these things, they would be canceling contracts left, right. It would be a very, very frustrating world if we didn't have buyer's agents involved. But as a listing agent, if I can compensate that buyer's agent, then the buyer gets to have great representation, somebody looking out for their interests, helping them overcome all of the hurdles that are inherent in buying a home. And it's not an extra hurdle of being able to pay for that service because the listing agent's helping with that. So buyer's agents do get paid. Most of the time we get paid by the listing agent, but that's not always the case. And so when we're presenting ourselves as buyer's agents and we're presenting our value, it is okay to say, yes, quite often I get compensated by the listing agent, but not always. And if I don't, then the buyer can compensate me directly. And that's certainly a choice that buyers have. And quite frankly, I think that's part of the competition topic here, because when we're talking competition, We foster competition through the participation in our local MLS broker marketplaces. This helps everybody get more exposure. And when buyer's agents and listing agents, they can work together, it, quite frankly, it makes a more smooth process that benefits the homeowners. It benefits the sellers because they don't have a whole bunch of buyers canceling on them because buyers don't understand the process or how to navigate through some of the pitfalls. And it helps buyers, obviously, for those same reasons. They get somebody that helps them navigate through all of those issues. So there we go. Competition in real estate. That's the number one point I would pull from it, is use buyer representation agreements, communicate your value, and have those conversations with consumers right up front about the services that a buyer's agent provides and how they're paid. Thanks, you guys.